Hello, this is Sean O'Connell of the CA APIM team based in the UK. Today I'm going to show you a quick overview of the CA PSD2 Demo App we built to present a consumer view of what this PSD2 directive means for the end user or the end customer. This app is available for iPhone 6 and upwards, as well as iPad 2 and upwards. Unfortunately, there's no version currently available for the Android that requires additional development work, etc. The PSD2 Directive is a European financial institution initiative to drive the exposing of APIs from financial institutions that in effect will drive higher levels of competition between the various different banks that subscribe to PSD2. It is a mandatory directive being enforced on the financial institutions across Europe. So to start the app, once it's installed on your iPhone or iPad, it's very simple and straightforward to log in to the app. Logging in could mean using CA directory, where all your users' information is stored. Or in principle, you could also log in with one of your social media identities. In this case, it could be Twitter, it could be LinkedIn, it could be Google, it could be Facebook, it could be Salesforce, any number of the social media identities of which people have out there. So the aim here is not just to have one set of identities, is to be able to cater for multiple login frameworks. Login is very simple. Press the sign in button, and based upon my current identity, in this case it was CA World Test User, I get back this set of capabilities for my identity. And that attribute information can be maintained in CA directory, it could be maintained in Active Directory, or some other third-party identity store. Again, this is what comes out from the Mobile Access Gateway capability of showing showing to the user their capability set based upon their enrollment with the aggregator, in this case the PSD2 aggregator. So here we have a set of capabilities for my account information that is being pulled together by a trusted party. In this case we call them an aggregator for PSD2 services. So traditionally you would have a single banking app that would apply my view of what I've accessed in each of the individual banks. This is quite cumbersome in that if I have 4 or 5 different accounts across 4 or 5 different banks, then I actually have to have 4 or 5 separate mobile apps on my iPad or iPhone, etc. PSD2 looks to bring this all into one app. So if I press the accounts button, the app talks to the aggregator, and that in turn is pulling back real-time information from where my bank accounts reside. So in this case I have 2 Royal Bank of Scotland accounts, one at UBS, one at HSBC and one with Lloyds. Of note here is they would be regarded, say, as my primary accounts where my greatest assets are financial assets, but it's not just limited to sterling accounts, it could be also dollar accounts, as well as other type of emerging currencies, in this case Bitcoin. You have loyalty cards such as the Nectar card, or just my mortgages and my credit card also being brought into one view in this actual app itself. So it's quite powerful immediately is that I have one view of my wealth, my status, where my assets are, where my liabilities currently reside. A quick view of that, then I can pull up a financial graph. This can give me a one quick snapshot of where my financial status, where's the greatest breakdown of my money. I can store that to the upper right hand corner button. I can take a photograph of that and distribute it around as is necessary. If I swipe to the right, I get a feel for my financial status over the past 12 months, where things have been good, where my assets may have dipped because I did an investment, etc., etc. So you can see your historical view of your assets over all your different bank accounts in one app. So it's like a consolidator and aggregator using the PSD2 type framework. To transfer money from one bank account to another, it's as simple as select the account, and now I see immediately is the transactions that have occurred in this particular account over the past couple of weeks. So I can see immediately that I've done a number of transfers, internal transfers to Lloyd's or to UBS account. But more importantly also, I can also see now I have done transactions via eBay or with Amazon, etc. What's important to note here, say for example in the case of the Amazon transaction, is this is a bank account, not rather than a credit card. So we're using the PSD2 framework when Amazon acts as a trusted information service provider or payment initiation service provider. Then they could directly withdraw the funds from my bank account rather than actually having to go through credit card, thereby reducing credit card charges for both Amazon or for the online retailers, as well as for myself going forward. It's also increased the level of security and reliance that the retailer is going to get paid because it's direct payment from my bank account. So to transfer funds, simple case of let's select the account I want to send money to. I want to put it into my Premier account in Lloyd's. Let's go with £100 immediately. Press a hit and the money is transferred immediately. And we can see at the very top here the money has actually transferred into my Lloyd's account. If, for example, we've integrated this with the likes of CA Riskminder. So if we wanted to do a transaction, say for example, of £1,000, this will trigger a request to the gateway, CA APIM gateway, to evaluate the risk of this transaction. So with my bank, in this case is the Royal Bank of Scotland, they've decided that for transactions over £1,000, I require a one-time password. And this is specific to my bank as opposed to HSBC, UBS, etc. So I have to go and find an OTP. My OTP, so for example, Royal Bank of Scotland, their OTP may be a dongle, it may be a soft app running on my phone, it may be any number of them, but I have to have a valid one-time password so that this transaction will be honoured by the Royal Bank of Scotland. So let me put in an OTP, hit make the transfer, and lo and behold, the transaction is complete also. So what we've demonstrated here is risk-based evaluation of a transaction. Because it's over a certain value, the bank associated with that consumer account advises the app, or in this case the aggregator, that additional level of security is required. In this case is one-time password in order for that transaction to be completed. If I want to enroll a new account, so maybe I don't have all my accounts, how do I get a new account into this particular framework, etc. So I want to enroll a new account. In this case, we're going to enroll an account from CA Bank as our demonstration bank, but I can select any multitude of different banks here to going forward. So let's select CA Bank. And CA Bank, I now presented with the login screen for CA Bank, and I have to put in a user ID. So let's just put in my CA Bank user ID. And CA Bank requires a one-time password for me to actually log in. So I have the choice here of either using a soft dongle, which is running on my iPhone or my iPad, using some type of RSA secure ID or some other form factor, etc. Or because CA Bank knows about my user ID, if I press SMS as the option, it will actually SMS a one-time password to me, and in it comes as a notification to this app. So I select that OTP, so there's no need for me to actually enter it. It came through the notification window, press login, and now that I've been authenticated to CA Bank is now going to challenge me back and say, look, there's this CA PSD2 aggregator app is requesting access to your bank accounts. Are you happy with that? So this is the OAuth handshake that would typically take place. So I've authenticated to my bank. My bank is now challenging me and saying, do you want this intermediary, this aggregator, to have access to your bank account information? So if I hit grant, yes. And what happens then is the aggregator now goes to CA Bank and pulls back my set of bank accounts, and will display that information on the screen. So I can see I have a current account here, and my current and the balance of it in this case is £96,000. So if I select this bank account, I want to enroll this into the aggregator, hit submit, and there it appears down the bottom down here as a new account, as a new primary account for going forward to perform transactions, etc., etc. So what we've demonstrated there is the ability to enroll bank accounts from third parties, from the owner of those accounts, demonstrated one-time passwords, as well as OAuth handshake for granting access from the bank by the consumer to the aggregator to act on our behalf to access that bank account going forward. The one-time password capability there is also available with a CA Bank OTP that's been built for the iWatch as well. So we can actually go in here and enable CA Bank OTP on the iWatch. So in this case, rather than using a SMS OTP or using a dongle, a piece of hardware, we actually can generate the OTP on the iWatch and push it automatically to the iPhone app, so that it's seamless for the consumer perspective. The next thing I want to show you is that once I have a view of my wealth, then the aggregator in this case may want to push various different offers to me. So in this case, it could be changes to my mortgage. So if I keep a minimum balance of a certain amount of money in my current accounts, then it can reduce my mortgage payments. And this is something that the aggregator, because it has a full 360-degree view of my wealth and my history of my wealth, it can actually make offers, real-time offers to me. And it could be a simple case of enable for me, or by switching between one real bank's credit card to another, I can save myself some money because the aggregator has view of the offers. Alternatively, then the individual banks themselves may want to push some offers to me because it's become now a more competitive market space for my business, etc. Especially as I have a higher level of wealth in one place than maybe some other customers. On that basis, then, say for example, I want to apply for a loan. Applying for a loan via the PSD2 aggregator can be as simple as select the amount you're looking for and the period you're looking for that loan for. And we can see down at the bottom the cost of that loan over the period of 5 years, etc. Now that interest rate can be dynamic, i.e. that the aggregator can check the best interest rate from the various different subscribing banks and be based upon my risk score, which can be evaluated in real time, as well as my current account breakdown, then that interest rate can vary quite significantly and be offered maybe potentially a better rate can be offered via the aggregator than individual banks. So press, and I've now gone and applied for that loan. Other functionality, it's consumer feature. It is looking for an ATM. Simplest thing is, based upon my current location, where to find the nearest ATM. If I select a particular ATM, then I can actually find the quickest route, whether it's walking or driving to it, etc. Again, it's just a nice to have feature in the actual app that's been built in. The app itself is using a password authentication, but additional levels of authentication can be integrated in there using CA two-factor authentication, are using IP-based authentication as well, with a number of different form factors. I hope this has been a useful run through of the demo app, and appreciate any feedback you have for it. Thank you.